Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna let it rain. Tonight, we gonna let it rain. Tonight, we gonna let it rain. Just like the sunrise, we gonna let it rain. Just like a spark that's breaking out. Can't make a stop, can't turn back now. We know that there's no room for doubt. No, we can't turn back now. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna let it rain. Tonight, we gonna let it rain. Tonight, we gonna let it rain. Just like the sunrise, we gonna let it rain.
Welcome back. Hello, everybody. If you were here earlier, welcome back. How's everybody doing tonight? Just realized I forgot my necklace, I think. Yeah, I did. That's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's always something, you know. I'm usually running around right before the live anyway with the music in the background. So, but how else would I come on the live? Now look at these two. Oh, I need a doggy cam. This is cute. Do you want to come in here, Riley? It's always the brown dog. She's the scariest dog. And like her sister's just sitting there looking at her, right? Like, come on. But she thinks and she will. If she comes in here, Mia will go to attack, you know. She'll try to get her. She doesn't want to be gotten. She's like, you ain't getting one up on me. Nuh-uh, I don't think so. That's how the pit boxer is. She's just going to sit there and look at herself in the mirror. I could just see her reflection in the mirror, and it's like her nose and like her eyes. That's pretty funny. Well, welcome in, everybody. I saw that we have all the mods in here today. We've got everybody's in here. Oh, they're just going to sit there, put their head down. Okay, then. I haven't went through any of the documents myself yet. I went through I skimmed through a couple, not going to lie. I skimmed through a couple, but I didn't go through them like I normally do because they just sort of started coming out over the last few hours. I was actually out when they started coming out. I saw them on Twitter. People were posting them, and I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, well, better get on there and start reading. So I figured we'll do a little bit of reading tonight, and then we'll come back on Refresh tomorrow, and we'll do some more reading tomorrow. And I saw that Mary Beth gifted 5 memberships. Thank you. And whoever got those memberships, welcome on in. And That was Mary Beth that gifted those. Thank you so much, Mary Beth. And thanks for being here, everybody. I won't go through everyone's name, but I saw that ladybug was, and I love that. Really? They're saying mean things about him? I saw that, Legal AC, that JLR had some pictures on his, Twitter or X or whatever, and I saw them, but I didn't look at the comments. That's unfortunate. I mean, it's not their fault that he did what he did. I'm sure his parents are gonna come out, like I've been saying, on one of them episodes of Evil Lives Here, and they're gonna say, "These were all the signs that we had, but we just didn't know." Because, I mean, you never know who you're dealing with, I guess. But Olivia made sure she told him that he was a psychopath and a sociopath and all the words today, so I loved it. She told him to sit up straight. I told Vincent that, and Vincent was like, I was like, "Yeah." I was like, it was insanity. I said, I was spinning in my chair. I said, I yelled out, "You're a POS," but I said the word, I said, "piece of shit." I said it, and it just came out. I mean, like, it had been something that I've been wanting to say to him for 2 years plus. And today was the day for me to say it too. So Olivia spells her name, isn't it L-E-L-V or wait, L-A-L, sorry. Isn't like E-A-V-A? I think it's something like that. I know there's an E and A in there. I've always spelled it L-O-I-V-A-I-A. That's how I've always had, like, people spell it around me. But I like that it's different, Dylan did do okay. She did excellent. She did so good. She did so good. I was proud of her today. And then I was like, I went into a creators live that was like opposite of the way that I've cared, like the way I've handled this case. It was like kind of the opposite of me. And I just kind of wanted to see how the chat was being in there. And the highlighted comment, I must have been like grinding my teeth the last few days because my jaw's kind of hurting. But it was when Dylan was testifying, or not testifying, I'm sorry, her victim's impact statement. And it was her victim impact statement. So who is she going to talk to about, right? Herself. It's who was impacted. Somebody put me. All she's talking about is herself. And I said, Vincent, I said, I want to comment. I said, even if I lost 20,000 subscribers and I was left with like 1,300 or something of y'all, I was like, it might be worth it. It might be worth it. Let me get down to the, hey, Crime Kitty and everybody. I know I didn't say hi to everybody, but that's okay. I see you guys and I see her here. Hey, Jenna. Hey, Mega Mama. I got Chewbacca out there. I don't know if you can hear her, but she is Chewbacca up a storm. Okay, thank you, Avery. I need to check my emails. We want a doggy cam too. I have like a little webcam. I just need to figure out how to do like 2 screens on. I don't know if you can do it on Streamer. I might have to try to learn OBS or whatever it's called. That's crazy. I emailed you. You can ignore now. I know. I need to check mine. Hey, is she? Today was insanity. It was. I cried. I cried a lot. Actually, I cried. I think every single person that spoke, I cried. And I feel like Deedle is part of all of our family now. I feel like she's everybody. She's America's grandmother. So sorry, but anybody messes with Deedle, they're going to have to come through me. I just thought she was the sweetest. Are all of the Idaho 4 focused true crime YouTubers going to delete their channels now that the Idaho 4 case is over? Joseph, I don't think so. I don't think so. Did you guys see about Elliot? I'll wait till I get to the bottom. So Elliot Hines, we did a live last night over her case. She went missing Saturday, I believe it was Saturday evening. And they found her today around 10:30 this morning, and she was in the river. She was in the Mississippi, but she was like, I guess, miles and miles away from where she would like where her phone was. So I guess it really like swept her down. I don't know if it's upstream or downstream or however that works. I'm sure someone in here knows, but unfortunately, they found her, and that's just very unfortunate. Thank you for becoming a member, ATX. And look at that, Midwest member for 6 months. You just got your titanium arm changed. You have a rainbow one now. Oh, I bet you're exhausted, Ashley. I couldn't even imagine. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to get into these documents. They say there's a lot. Yeah, loves to lurk. There are a lot of documents. There's an existing restaurant called K Burgers. Man, did you know there's an existing website with my name? Found that out the other day. I was like, I am not spending $3,000 for it, so just keep it. So whenever I do get a website, we'll name it something else. I mean, we'll name it like TitaniumBuilt, but it'll have to have something else in it. She is America's Grandma Deedle. And then, did you guys see the picture? Oh, I kept it. It was there's a picture of Ben Mogan, and his tears are like getting ready to drop from his eyes. It's just the AP did really good with the photos, like capturing the the heartache that was going on in that courtroom today. That was we were just think about like how upset we were as just kind of talking about this case for so long and just being on the outside, right? And just imagine what they feel. That I will say it over and over and over. Dylan, she did so good. She did so, and so did Bethany. Even though Bethany couldn't go up there and talk, she did her letter to like the to the court or whatever was really well written. You could tell that they took a lot of time, and they weren't taking that lightly. That was something that they did not want to do, but I'm glad that they did it. Hey, Peaky, I wish that she would have looked to him and said, "Did you see me?" I mean, we'll know. We'll know. He won't be able to keep his mouth shut unless somebody does that for him before, Ramsling can get in there and talk to him. Hey, Kake. Okay, let me get to the bottom here. Hey, Aries. Well, thank you. Thanks, Mary Beth. She said, thank you, Tanya, for covering this case since day one and never giving misinformation. Thank you. I appreciate that. I actually, I'm not to like give myself a big head, but I looked at Vincent earlier and I said, you know what? I said, I don't regret anything that happened during this case. Like, we had some crazy things happen and go down during this case, and we can always go back and revisit those times. I mean, we've had me cussing up a storm. We've had me not falling asleep, but I almost said fall asleep. Like, we've had me like literally like crying, fighting. That's what I was say, like fighting with someone in the chat. Like, me and her were going at it that one day. Me and Kelly D. I'll never forget her. The lady that came on panel, I don't even remember her name. She came on panel. Me and her were screaming back and forth. These are all still up. We don't delete stuff around here, so they're still under my Idaho 4 playlist. There's not, other than like those things, I don't regret those things because they like they made me become a better creator, a more thoughtful creator. But and I don't regret any like the mods we had, because I love the mods that we had. I don't regret, except for one. I was like, we did good. We did good on this channel, guys. We really did. And that's including y'all. Y'all make the channel. Oh, I love you too, Ishi. You've been a member for 10 months. Look at that. Time's flying by. What the heck? 10 months? Feels like it was just 6 months. 10 months in. Man. Well, thank you guys all for being here. I think we made our time, so we did. We made it. Hey, 40 Love Style. Maddie's dad. Maddie's mom, she can't even speak. That was her only baby. I mean, you should never have to. You should never have to bury a baby, but or like a child. And I'm calling them children because they were still so young. They were still so young, you know. And they were young adults, but they didn't get to live any of their life. They didn't get to do anything. They were literally just going to school, making the dean's list, doing all the things that Brian Koberger wasn't doing. And I'm glad that, Olivia pointed out his shortcomings today. That made me very, very happy. Oh, I try to 8 text. I can't. So, I don't know. I'm like, I always get, Vincent was like, where do you get your info from? I'm like, I'm like, for my ideas, I'm like the inspiration button. If I don't have anything, there's like a new thing on YouTube that'll give you like an inspo. I'm like, sometimes they'll give me some inspo. And thanks for being here for the whole 2 years with me, Ash. Actually, over 2 years. It's been over 2 years. A couple of you guys did your things today. Really, Cheryl? I haven't read that yet. Wow. And I thought Kaylee with over 30 was a lot. Because you think about that. I mean, unless the last like 10 or 15 are just like him just going into overkill or something, you would think that a few times would suffice it, right? Those girls were strong. They weren't going to go down easy. If you did rock it. Did you see Brian's mom and his sister? I didn't see his dad, but I did see his mom and sister. That's exactly what it was, Ashley. Yeah. Yeah. 26 months, Mary Beth. Man. There was a couple other people that had 26 months, I think, today too. I was like, look at that. 30 plus is insane. With a K-bar? Oh, so it's going to be in the documents. We're getting ready to pull them up right now. I didn't get to see Hunter. Emily's boyfriend, Hunter Johnson. I didn't see him in court today. I saw, wasn't he there last time with the Gonzalez's or something? Or not the Gonzalez's, I meant the Chapins. I think they were sitting beside them, but no, I didn't see them today. So, the first document I'm going to pull up is this one. The stuff above this, we're going to go over this stuff, but this is like in evidence, and it's not in very good order. So I'm going to put it in like an order for us to read through, so it's a little bit better. But it's nothing that's like, it's just like the evidence that they took from like Brian Koberger's apartment, things of that nature. A little bit has to do with the victims, but nothing that's like, oh my gosh, that's what that meant. Like, it does say ID cards. It doesn't say 10 ID cards or whatever it was before we were wondering. It does say ID cards. We don't know whose ID cards they are though. And that would be a question for the, Monroe County Monroe County officials over there. They're good. So, now this is the general narrative outline. Let me make this bigger for everybody. For everybody's safety there or sake. And then it says 1 here. And whenever I go to do these documents, I'll have them like where they're highlighted. So it's easier for you guys to see them as well. I just didn't have time tonight. So the offense, homicide synopsis, Kaylee J. Gonzalez, Ethan J. Chapin, Xana A. Kernodle, and Madison M. Mogan were found deceased inside 1122 King Road. Total value, damage stolen. It says not applicable. And I'm not sure what a watch guard is, other than like somebody to watch. I don't know. It says yes. Additional responding officers with BWC, Snyder, Warner, Nunes, Smith, Morris, Rosinski. Case number added. Doesn't have one. And this is evidence, and then it's going to be the narrative. I'm going to throw on my glasses real quick. I should have had these things cleaned and ready to go. Next time when I know we're going to be reading, I will. But I think they're okay for tonight. Oh, you can find all here. Let me give you the website. Let me give you the website to them. There's 300 out so far. This will be just for Moscow. So this is just going to be for Moscow. And then I have to put in FOIAs tomorrow for, I have all of them written down. Monroe, Moscow. I don't know where I wrote them down at. Boise, but I don't think I need to do them. Yeah, Boise, like Ada County, I think. I don't know if I have to do any. Yeah, I might have to do them in Ada County. I'm just going to do them everywhere. Thanks, Garrett. I'm just going to do them everywhere. Hey, Kelly. Hey, Betsy. Welcome in, everybody. If you guys don't mind, take a second, hit the like button. Aries was in here. Chicken and steak quesadillas. That sounds so good. I had a chicken burrito at Chipotle, and it wasn't very good. Oh, and at the end of the live, I'll show you that little black heart he had, that little drawing he had in front of him today, too. Because he's a weird, it's weird. I don't know. So 11/13/2022 at approximately, let me see if I can put this where you guys can see it better. Sometimes if I do it like that, I don't know if that helps, actually. I'll just blow it up a little bit more. At approximately 11:56 hours, MPD officers responded to an unconscious call. The RP later identified, I'm assuming that says Bethany Funk. They didn't do a very good job redacting the name. Reported her roommate was passed out, not conscious and not breathing. As I was preparing to leave the station, Officer Nunes, who was already on scene, advised of a likely homicide and asked for additional units. While I was en route, Officer Nunes advised homicide and asked for, Nunes advised he had located, where am I at? Okay, sorry. I was like, I could not read that for a minute. Nunes advised he had located 2 additional victims. The victims were later identified as Kaylee J. Gonzalez, Ethan J. Chapin, Xana A. Kernodle, and Madison M. Mogan. Moscow EMS was asked to stage and not respond to the scene unless requested. Upon arrival, I saw, I'm assuming Hunter Johnson, crouching near the entrance to 1122 King Road. I'm going to say Johnson. That's what it looks like. Johnson was in obvious emotional distress. I entered through the first floor door, which faces north towards the parking lot. I announced myself as a Moscow police officer and heard Officer Nunes and Warner respond from upstairs. When I got to the second floor, I saw a female covered in blood in the bedroom on the northwest side of the second floor. I believe this female to be Xana. I looked inside the bedroom and Xana was lying, and it was obvious an intense struggle had occurred. Xana was obviously deceased. There was blood smeared on various items in the room and all over the floor. I might have to skip some of these BLOD words, but I'm going to try not to. There was blood cast off on the walls in various places, including above Xana's body. That means he was standing over her. Xana was on her back on the floor in the center of the room with her head towards the west. Xana was in her underwear and a long sleeve gray shirt. Well, that's not what she went out in that night. She went out in black pants. Well, we don't know if she changed after, but in the picture, she was wearing black jeans and a black sweatshirt. Okay. Both her shirt and underwear were covered in blood. Xana's face and body was covered in dried blood. I could see what appeared to be defensive knife wounds on Xana's hands. There was a deep gash on Xana's left hand between her pointer finger and thumb. So like there. A partially covered male was on the bed and also obviously deceased. I believe this male to be Ethan. The midsection of Ethan's body was covered with a blanket. Ethan's head wasn't visible and appeared to be between the bed and the south wall. Okay, that's weird. There was some blood cast off and what appeared to be arterial blood spray above where Ethan's head was located. I proceeded upstairs to the third floor where I met Officer Nunes and Warner. Officer Nunes and Warner advised the residence was clear of any additional people. There was a dog belonging to Kaylee in the third floor west bedroom, which has access to a third floor deck. The deck has no exterior access to the ground level. I asked Corporal Snyder to cordon off the area and Officer Nunes to start identifying the subjects that were on scene when he arrived. I asked Officer Warner to start a crime scene log at the front entrance. Once Officer Smith arrived on scene, I asked him to stand guard at the kitchen sliding door, which I later learned was ajar upon our arrival. Okay, so apparently he might have went out the back door and didn't close it all the way. Because as far as we know, Bethany and Dylan, they went out the front door towards the parking lot. So yeah, it says it was later ajar upon our arrival. On the third floor, I went to the southeast bedroom where Officer Nunes and Warner advised they found two females, whom I believed to be Kaylee and Madison. Both females were obviously deceased, and I observed Kaylee lying on the north side of the bed and Madison lying on the south side of the bed, with their heads towards the east. Kaylee and Madison were covered by a pink blanket, which was covered in blood. There was a large pool near Kaylee's midsection. There was blood cast off on the east and north walls above Kaylee and Madison. Madison appeared to be lying up against Kaylee. Madison had what appeared to be wounds to her forearm and hands. So she did defend herself. She at least went up like this and like this, to, block. Wow. Madison had a gash under her right eye, which appeared to go from the corner of her eye to her nose. Kaylee was unrecognizable as her facial structure was extremely damaged. I bet he hit her with the butt of that gun. I mean, that knife. I don't know why I said gun. I'm used to use the same butt of gun, but the butt of the knife. To make, you know what I mean? That would make his fist harder. You know what I mean? If he held it. That's so sad. That's really, really, really sad. I asked Officer Nunes to close the door to the bedroom so the dog did not try to disturb the scene. Other than that action, MPD patrol officers left the scene as it was found. I was later confirmed with Officer Nunes. But that no EMS personnel entered prior to my arrival. I think that he typed too fast, so some of it's broken English. But I contacted Captain Barrett and advised him of the situation. Captain Barrett said he would activate detectives and get more resources en route. Once Detective Sergeant Lawrence arrived on scene, he requested one of the responding patrol officers begin writing a search warrant, which was assigned to Officer Nunes. Corporal Snyder was assigned to take initial photos of the scene while Officers Smith and Warner remained as security at both entrances. I collected the dog from the third floor and took it outside. LCSO Department Olson transported the dog to the Humane Society on my behalf. Officer Nunes was interviewing a large group of individuals which were associated with the residents. Officer Nunes asked that I finish getting contact information for the individuals. I contacted and later added the following names to this call. I'm going to say Bethany, Dylan. I don't know who the rest of them, but I'm going to say, there's a lot of people there, but Hunter Johnson was one of them. His girlfriend would have been there. There was a lot of people. And we've seen the picture of them, all huddled just in front of the house, in front of that trash can, just huddled there. It's very sad. Once those individuals' names were collected, they responded to the MPD to be interviewed by detectives. I assisted with the canvass of the area and was assigned the southernmost apartments at something Queen Road. I'm assuming it's probably the ones beside it. I contacted the residents following apartments whom claimed they didn't hear anything. I'm assuming it's the apartments right next door, but that's just me assuming. It says redacted and redacted. I attempted contact at the following apartments with no response. Left the numbers there so they can go back, There is no apartment with that or that. I remained associated with the call and assisted with scene security until approximately 1800 hours. Other information, photos attached, follow-up needed, undeveloped leads, referred to Detective Sergeant Blaker and Corporal Payne. Case status active, referred to specialty. Yes, detectives. I certify or declare under penalty of perjury pursuant to the law of the state of Idaho that the foregoing is true and correct. And then it looks like Tuesday, November 15th at 8:08. It says just S. Gunderson. Oh, that's all of that. Okay. So let's go to the next one. Let me pop up, I'm going to try to have two of them open. So I'm not sure if these are all, I think they're all going to go in an order. I'm hoping they are. They better be. So this is Moscow Police Department Law Supplemental Narrative. And this is Corbin Smith's. And it says incident number there. It has the sequence 1, initial response and scene security. So evidence none, narrative. Okay, so it says on 1/13/2022 at about 1200 hours, I responded to 1122 King Road in reference to possible homicide victims. Officer Nunes had arrived on scene and found a total of 4 deceased individuals. Officer Nunes informed other units he believed this to be a homicide. When I arrived, I entered the residence and went to the second floor. I observed a female wearing a sweatshirt and underwear laying in the middle of the bedroom, floor covered in blood. I observed deep lacerations indicative of defensive wounds on the female's hands. The female was surrounded by blood on the floor. I observed a male lying on the bed. The male appeared to have suffered from stab wounds and a laceration to the neck. The male was covered in blood and the bedding around him was soaked in blood. So haven't heard anything. I mean, they haven't taken the blankets off of Ethan, it doesn't look like yet, but we haven't heard anything about the carving yet. In a third floor bedroom, I observed 2 females lying in bed, which appeared to have been stabbed to death. The female lying on the left half of the bed, as I looked at it from the doorway, was unrecognizable. Her face was completely disfigured and was stabbed several times. I was unable to comprehend exactly what I was looking at while trying to discern the nature of the injuries. Wow. Wow, that's wow. The second female on the right half of the bed had multiple stab wounds. The comforter was soaked and blood, and a pool of blood was still present. I was assigned to hold security at the rear slider door. This was alleged point of entry to the suspect. I observed very large footprints in the snow. So there were things in the snow. You know what I mean? There were things on the outside of the house. So, okay, yeah. I used a tape measure and the shoe size measured approximately 13 and a half to 14 inches. Big ass feet. My brother wears a feet 15. I can't say nothing, but he has some big feet. What did Koberger, what size shoes were those? I can't remember. Whenever we'll find out. The footsteps went to and from the rear slider door. Okay, I stand corrected. There it is. I stand corrected on my front door theory. Wonder why the neighbor said that door was open then, if it wasn't. Because I'm beginning to think maybe it wasn't open at all. Because why wouldn't Dylan shut it on her way to Bethany's room? Not just, I think she would, right? Maybe that neighbor thought it was that morning and it was really maybe the morning before. I don't know. But it says here, the footsteps went to and from the rear slider door. I observed the trail of footsteps head away from the slider, then turn right around a stump in the backyard and lead towards the front of the house. I observed a set of small handprints on the window to the east of the slider. The screen to this window appears damaged and was laying on the ground. That's been there. I located smudge fingerprints on the glass slider door. There was a discarded black backpack in the backyard. I photographed these items and attached them to the case. I maintained rear security until I was relieved by Officer Warner. The only person to enter from this point was Captain Lanier at about 15:27 hours. There's nothing. I'm certified, everything he said was correct. And then that's his, I'm assuming when he's done, he signs off on it. And that might have been the guy that we saw in all the pictures. That was like back there, the first day in the back of the house. So it looks like these are all going to be different officers' accountings. This is going to be clearing the home. But this is Eric Warner. Let me see what this one was. Corbin Smith. Yeah, so it's going to be like that's why they're a little different, each one. Just want to see if these are, I think these are all going to be different, like a little bit different. So I'll read them. So on 1/13/2022, at approximately 11:58 hours, I responded to a report of an unconscious person at 1122 King Road. Dispatch advised of a female that was passed out from intoxication and not waking up. Dispatch advised there was a male seen in the room with the female last night. A short time later, dispatch advised the female was not conscious and was not breathing. As I arrived, Officer Nunes advised over the air it appeared to be a homicide. I saw a small group of females outside the home in the parking lot. One female advised their roommate was on the second floor and needed help. I went to Officer Nunes' location at the west bedroom on the second floor and passed a male in the living room, later identified as Hunter Johnson. We'll say HJ. Officer Nunes advised the female and a male in the bedroom had blood on them and appeared to be beyond help. I walked out of the bedroom towards redacted and saw a clean steak knife on a beer pong table. I pointed out the knife to Nunes. I'm going to say Johnson said he got the steak knife from the kitchen because he arrived and saw the female on the bedroom floor covered in blood and did not know if there was anyone else present in the room. Johnson said he checked the room with the knife for protection. Officer Nunes and I walked to the first floor entrance with Hunter. I don't know why they switched his name back to Hunter, but I asked the female and Hunter if there was anyone else in the apartment, and they did not know. I told Officer Nunes the home was not secure, and we started the process of clearing it. On the third floor in the southeast bedroom, I saw two clothed females laying in bed, or laying on a bed on their backs, who appeared deceased. One female on the left side of the bed in relation to the bedroom door had an extreme amount of lacerations to her face and upper body, which made her unrecognizable. The other female had multiple lacerations on her upper body and some blood on her face. I walked to the far side of the bed to determine if the female on the right was beyond help. I saw the female's leg was off the edge of the bed and it had lividity. Once I noticed the lividity in the female's leg, I backed out of the room. Officer Nunes and I checked the rest of the third floor and I saw it was clear. There was a poodle in the west bedroom on the bed, which was later taken to the Humane Society by LCSO. After clearing the home, I briefly interviewed Johnson. Johnson said that he was at his apartment with his girlfriend, EA. They received a phone call from one of the girls who lived at 1122 King Road. Redacted. I'm just going to say their names. Johnson and Alant was called by one of the residents who said they could not wake the female on the floor. Johnson said that he came over to the home at approximately 11:55 hours. Johnson said he saw the female on the floor in the bedroom and did not see the male in the bed, who was identified as Ethan, before grabbing the knife. Johnson said he entered the bedroom and checked the female's pulse and found none. Johnson said he did not check Ethan and left the home. I thanked Johnson for talking with me and told him he could go stand with Alant, who was with the other residents in front of the home. I stood by the front door and started the crime scene log at 12:15 hours. Sergeant Gunderson relieved me for approximately 3 minutes so I could get my gloves during my time at the front door. At approximately 15:02 hours, I was relieved by Officer Rowiski, who took possession of the crime scene log and returned to the station. They weren't messing around. Like when they were checking out, they were signing their names off and doing all the things, like they were doing all the things. Yes, Harlow. You know what? Before this trial was supposed to start, I was going to go through all of his old posts to see what he got right and what he got wrong and just like go over it all. And then we never ended up. All this happened today. Like it was actually, I don't know what I did with that paper. Oh, it's over there. I was like, things of like list of things to do. That was one of the list. But yeah, he did say that. I hated the way he worded that. The way he talked about them, like in their hair and like those blonde girls, like the way he just described them in that first or second airmail article was not. It was It was very distasteful. So where were we? Okay. I stood by the front door and we already read that part. At approximately 15:28 hours, I came back to the scene and relieved Officer Smith, who was standing at the rear sliding door, which was found open when officers arrived. I remained at the back door until I was relieved by Officer Nunes at approximately 16:28. Okay. Let me pull up the next one. Which one was this one? Okay, so 2. Okay. We're just going to keep it going down the list. Okay, because it looks like all of these are going to be like a little bit different. So this one's going to be from Mitch Nunes. He was the first officer on the scene. So, and this was the guy that was like 22 years old. It says on 11/13/22 at approximately 11:56 hours, I responded to an unconscious subject at 1122 King Road in Moscow, Idaho. Upon my arrival, I found a large gathering of people in the parking lot immediately north of the 1122 King Road residence. 1122 King Road is a white 3-story single-family residence with multiple bedrooms. The 1122 designation is located directly above the front door facing north. I was directed to a bedroom on the second floor by Hunter Johnson in the northwest corner to locate the unresponsive female. Upon entering the room, I observed a female lying supine on the floor next to a bed. According to DM, this female was likely Kaylee J. Gonzalez. Dylan Also lived at 1122 King Road. I observed dry blood surrounding Kaylee's body and signs of cutting trauma to her face. Kaylee was covered in so much blood, I wasn't able to immediately discern where any additional injuries would have likely been. Kaylee was apparently deceased due to her pale skin color, rigid body tone, and apparent blood loss. On the bed in the same room, I observed Kaylee. I observed a male. Why is this is wrong? Why is he? I was thinking this was wrong. This report is wrong. What's going on here? Like it was going, and then it said, "Now we're." Am I the only one reading this? Okay. Okay, so it says right here, like we're talking about Kaylee, and then on the bed in the same room I observe Kaylee, I observe a male. What was it? Yeah, I think he meant, but the thing is, the trauma and stuff, like the cutting, like they were talking about that with Kaylee earlier. He might have, I mean, he might not even been able to write his this paper. Okay, I will read what they say about Ethan just to see. Okay. And then it just says that he had the knife. Okay. And then right here is the same. See, it says we're likely Xana and Maddie. This is wrong. But it just, I'm assuming that he meant to put Kaylee there. But it just says both females showed very pale skin. Both females were covered in dry blood and apparently deceased after the residence was deemed safe. Officer Warner and I exited the residence to secure it in the immediate area to include the parking lot immediately to the north of the residence. Okay. I walked outside and began interviewing. I don't know if we should even keep on reading this. I feel like this is going to be wrong. But I don't know. We're going to keep reading it. So I walked outside and began interviewing. Redacted. Redacted told me at approximately 4 a.m. 400 hours, she heard a voice scream and believed it to be Kaylee's. And it's supposed to be Dylan. Dylan said she heard Kaylee scream and announce there was somebody inside the residence. Dylan said she could hear Kaylee run from the 3rd floor down the stairs to the 2nd floor. Okay, he means Xana there. Okay, so I'm about to put her name in there. Okay, we're just gonna skip this one. I want to keep this one. I'm gonna pin this, and then we're gonna go to the next one, which is 4. And I'm gonna make sure that they don't say the same thing in this one. That's weird. Did nobody reread their stuff? We're already like 30 minutes into this, and I'm just like, uh-oh. Yeah, I think he's getting names confused. I think it was very easy in the beginning to get names confused as well, too. I really do. And he was the first officer on scene. Good golly. 22 years old. So it says that here at 1200 hours, I responded. This is for Ryan Snyder. He responded to 1122 King for unresponsive subject. Upon my arrival, I noticed there were several college-age subjects out front of the address. I was directed to use police caution tape to cordon off the crime scene. As I was working around the residence, I noticed the door on the back porch. Oh, wait, hold on. Sorry. I noticed the back door was open and there were footprints in the snow coming from the back door on the back porch. Officer Smith took photos of these prints with a measuring tape. He watched the backyard area to make sure no one else came in to the backyard. That's why we didn't see anyone really doing this, because there was no cameras right then in the beginning like that, to where we would have saw them doing that, you know? So they were like, there's no proof of him leaving the house. Well, Okay, there it is. This portion of the backyard is connected to two other residences, 1118 King and 1126 King Road, both directly to the west. The footprints appear to lead west towards King Road between the residences, but I was unable to see where the footprints went after the yards connected due to the amount of rock landscaping. I also was unable to discern how old these prints were. They had not been recent snowfall. With Sergeant Gunderson, I entered the residence to continue taking photos of the scene. I entered through the bottom floor main door on the north side. I took photographs of the rooms and the living areas of the residence. The photos were downloaded onto a CD and booked into evidence. The photos were labeled in this report with a brief description of each photo. As I was down the road of the address near the King Road and Queen Road intersection, I was approached by a college-age male who identified himself as, starts with a J, or is it Jeremy? I'm just kidding. I don't know who it is. I'm just saying. I'm just kidding. Oh, it's Jack. Okay, it's Jack. Never mind. He informed me he lived at Redacted King Road apartment, and he stated his, I'm going to say ex-girlfriend, lived upstairs at 1122 King Road, and they shared a dog that was there. So the dog that was there currently. I just saw a J, and I was just kidding about the Jeremy thing. And thank you guys for being here. There is a lot of actually new info coming out of these. Where were we at? Jack, I'm just gonna say Jack. I feel like most of these I can say, but we'll just, okay. Redacted did not appear to have any obvious wounds on his hands, as I would assume the suspect possibly would. Officer Nunes was interviewing subjects about the situation. I asked Redacted if he would wait inside Officer Nunes' police car so we could talk with him. He agreed to. I informed Sergeant Gunderson of the circumstances involving Redacted. Redacted later responded to the police department to be interviewed and then picked up the dog from the Moscow Humane Society shelter. I continue to canvass the area and speak with the neighbors at Redacted, and Redacted Queen Road, who stated they did not hear or see anything relevant. I spoke with subjects at Redacted King Road. One resident, Redacted, stated she was walking home from the corner club at about 300 hours and thought she could hear music or some type of noise, but she couldn't give any clarifying information more than that due to her level of intoxication that night. I spoke with subjects at Redacted King Road. The majority of them stated they were out drinking at the corner club and got a ride back to their place at about 1:30 hours and went to sleep at about 2. They did not hear anything out of the ordinary. Redacted King Road, Redacted resident, Redacted, stated at about 4 o'clock, 400 hours, he heard a barking dog coming from the east of his residence. He believed it was the dog at 1122 King Road. He thought that was the only dog in the area. He stated the dog sounded like it was outside and was barking for about 45 minutes until he believed someone must have let it inside at 4:45 a.m. when it stopped. Redacted stated he had a female with him in bed at the time who also heard the dog barking at this time. I spoke with the residents at Redacted King Road. Redacted informed me they had a camera facing the west of the address that they believe captures a portion of the road. They first provided me with the SIM card out of the camera. However, they could not get it to work, and neither could I. They gave me the username and password to the camera. I informed Detective Mowry of the information, and they gave me permission to access the camera footage and record any necessary surveillance video. I cleared the scene at about 17:49 hours. So these are the photos. Like these are, we'll go through all of these too. Like that's a lot of stuff. Okay. I'm just going to read down through them. Key on retaining wall north of 1122 parking lot. These are going to be all photos. So the front of 1122, the front of the address in the east side, front of address in west side, the parking lot, the black Ford Explorer, the parking lot in the northwest corner, parking lot and west side yard, front of address, front east of address, front east of address. Vehicle black Ford Explorer gives the plate, back seat of redacted, back seat of redacted, front seat of redacted, VIN number of redacted, vehicle red Jeep, driver's side of redacted. Okay. These are just all pictures of the car. So parking passes, the Range Rover, Honda Civic, Arizona license plate, that'd be Xana. The west yard, the front door, the west first floor room, first door towards first floor bathroom and stairs. So the first floor, second floor, upstairs. Man, they took everything. So first floor bedroom. First floor bedroom with east side and hallway, locked door first floor bedroom. There's a few of those. First floor to second floor. Kitchen knife on beer pong table, which that was Hunter Johnson. And then the female victim, the blood on the floor, the bedroom closet, bedroom table, second floor west bedroom female UI ID card. I think if he wanted to take the ID cards, he had that perfect chance right there to take that, and he didn't. So, you know. Oh, bless you. Bless you again. Oh, my goodness. Dog's back here sneezing. So second floor living room beer or the pong table blood. So there was blood throughout the house. Living room pong table knife. Second floor couch. Living room pong table blood. Kitchen sink, kitchen table, kitchen stove, kitchen table. A jar sliding glass door to kitchen patio. The ground outside kitchen window. Kitchen window right hand print. Kitchen window face mark. Okay, those are probably not him, but there was a dog kennel. Third floor west bedroom dog kennel. So that would make sense if she put Murphy in there to sleep. And like he had his little dog kennel in there, right? And you put him in there at night and you say, "Good night, Murphy." That makes sense to me. A little more sense than, Murphy's just running around the bedroom. I thought it was broken myself, but maybe not. I think it was up on her table because they were taking pictures of her table and stuff too. I think it was sitting on there, like sitting on her table is what I'm assuming. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see ID cards for like Kaylee or Maddie too, because what I think that they probably did was they probably had them in their back pocket. But I think that Kaylee might have had a wallet on the back of her phone case. I can't remember 1,000%, but I'm pretty sure she took it like from behind her phone. So let's see what else they have. Anything else? Just floor from doorway, the bedroom, 2 female victims, the above bed, the 2 victims again. And then there's more of the cars. Medical mask outside. I don't know if it's King Road. There's 3 of them though. I don't think that Koberger would like just be dropping masks around though. He seems like he would be little more prepared. I don't know. But maybe not. Shoot, Okay. Oh, where did that go? There it is. I'm like, where did that go? Okay. I was just seeing if this was going to be anything different, but I don't think it's too different, but you never know. On November 13th at approximately 12:53 hours, this is from Dallinger. That was the guy today that was on the news conference. On November 13th at approximately 12:53 hours, I arrived on scene at 1122 King Road and spoke with Sergeant Gunderson and Sergeant Lawrence, who gave me a brief overview of the information gathered at that time. Sergeant Lawrence informed me the Idaho State Police were going to assist in the investigation and were organizing to respond to the scene. Sergeant Lawrence responded to the police department to begin interviews. I remained on scene on the perimeter awaiting further information. Approximately 1 hour later, a male approached the scene and began speaking with Sergeant Gunderson. The male was identified as that looks like Jeffrey Kernodle, but I don't know. I'm not going to say that. So that male was identified as Redacted. I overheard Redacted state his daughter lived in the 1122 King Road and he had been trying to get in touch with her but was unsuccessful. It was also learned Redacted daughter Redacted or Redacted was nearby the scene. I asked Redacted if he and Redacted could come to the police department to speak with me. Redacted agreed and I returned to the police department. I contacted Sergeant Lawrence at the police department and asked if he had the names of the victims. Sergeant Lawrence stated he did and gave me the list. I saw one of the victims' names was Xana A. Kernodle. I then met with, we know this is Jeffrey and Jasmine, in the interview room off of the police department lobby. Once in the room, I activated the audio and video recording equipment. I hope they do. They could just keep that forever in their little, their evidence room. We don't need to see that. That's one thing I do want. That's one thing I don't want to see. And I don't want to see any like autopsy photos. Like that's just too invasive, but that's so sad. I asked Jeffrey and Jasmine for their information, and they both handed me their Arizona driver's license. After writing down their information, I asked Jeff what the name of his daughter was. Jeffrey told me her name was Xana. I then informed Jeffrey and Jasmine that Xana was identified as one of the victims and that she was deceased. They both became very upset and were crying heavily. I asked Jeffrey and Jasmine when was the last time they communicated with Xana. Jasmine stated she texted with Xana on 11/11/2022 at approximately 1700 hours. It says, where was that? Redacted said the text message was brief. Okay, Jasmine, I guess, and they were not of any substance. Jeffrey said he texted Xana on, or Redacted said he texted Xana on 11/11/2022 at around 1540 hours and she responded stating she was at work. Redacted then told me the last time he spoke with Xana on the phone was 11/11/2022 at approximately 2140 hours when they spoke about going to the WSU football game. I asked Redacted where Xana worked and he said at Mad Greek. I asked both Redacted and Redacted if Xana had mentioned anything about having any issues with anyone or anything strange occurring lately. So maybe he guessed Jeff didn't talk to her that night, but I thought he said he did. It says, both of them said Xana had not said anything. Redacted said Xana had a boyfriend, Ethan Chapin, who she was dating for about 6 months or so. Redacted said everything seemed fine with their relationship, and Redacted added how she had met Ethan's parents in passing, or he had, I'm sorry, this weekend, over the weekend. So they had met in passing. It should be noted, Redacted was in town visiting as he resides in Avondale, Arizona, and it was Washington State University's Parents' Weekend. I asked Redacted and Redacted if there was anyone they wished me to contact for them or if they wished to speak with anyone such as a member of clergy. They both told me no. I gave them both my business card and informed them our detectives would be in contact with them in the near future. And that's when they left the police station. Man, you get that horrible news, you know what I mean? And then they're like, well, here's my card. That's sad. So let's open this one. Is everybody doing okay so far? So far, so good. Everybody okay? Doing good? Okay. If you don't mind, hit the like button for me. That'll help me so much. Oh, Olivia's was the best. Her and Dylan were probably the two most powerful, but physically powerful. Steve, all day long, when he moved that podium, was like, that judge ain't going to say nothing to him. He was just like, I'm just going to move this. So, yeah. Thank you guys for being here tonight. I appreciate it also. Let me get to my drink and then I'll get back to reading. I might need some more water actually after this. Okay. So this is going to be the next document in the list of documents. This is going to be Aaron Morris. And like I said, all of these are a little bit different. Like they're all just a little bit like, whoops, different. I hope I'm making these big enough and not too big for you guys. But, and like I said, in our next live, I'll go through a lot of these and I'll have them highlighted and stuff for you guys. So it's a little bit easier for you guys to see them too and know exactly what's going on in each document. So this is from 11/14. So it looks like the next day, but that's when he wrote it out. So on 11/13/2022 at around 1300 hours, I was advised that by Captain Barrett to respond to work due to an homicide investigation. I was told to remain available for calls for service. At around 1630 hours, I relieved Officer Rosinski on the north side of 1122 King Road. The north side is where I'm realizing is the front door. I was stationed for scene security and helped keep a log of who entered and exited the crime scene. Officer Smith entered at 1700 hours and exited at 1725 hours. ISP Talbot entered at 1700 hours and left at 1740 hours. Corporal Payne entered at 1700 hours and exited at 1723 hours. PA Jennings, prosecutor, entered at, isn't that what it is? Yeah, I think so. Entered at 1703 and exited at 723. They didn't stay in very long. ISP Jake entered at 1725 hours and left at 1738 hours. ISP Gideon entered at 1725 hours and exited at 1739 hours. Sergeant Blaker entered at 1728 hours and exited at 1740 hours. Corporal Payne entered again at 1728 hours and exited at 1738 hours. So Officer Stirk relieved me from the north side of the residence, and I went to the south side to relieve Officer Nunes at around 1800 hours. I stood at the rear of the residence for scene security. I assisted Sergeant Blaker in putting evidence tape on the sliding glass door on the south side of the residence. The tape was to ensure no persons tried to access the scene overnight. And that's what I told y'all about the crime scene tape before. They'll know if it's busted, seal is busted. I returned to the north side of the residence for the remainder of the night. Once ISP and investigators made their final walkthrough, the residence was secured at 2344 hours. Officer Rosendahl relieved me and I cleared. Period. Okay. NFI, and this is other. Okay. So they tried there, but I'm like, that didn't make much sense. Let me get the next one. So we did supplement 6. Okay. There's 7, 8, and 9. We'll like open up a few more of these at the same time. And then I'm going to close some of these. Okay. So we just heard from Aaron Morris. This one's going to be John Lawrence. It's kind of crazy how like they're all a little bit different. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, of course they're going to be different because they're from other people's point of view, but like, I feel like just the way that they describe the wounds and stuff, especially to Kaylee. So, on 11/13/2022 at about 1200 hours, Captain Barrett called me and informed me there had been multiple victims of a homicide located in a residence on King Road and requested all available detectives. I called Detective Vargas and was informed she was out of town and would be back in Moscow on Monday morning. I called Detective Mowry and he informed me he would be on his way shortly. I called ISP Lieutenant Mike Mooney and told him I need assistance from ISP detectives in processing the crime scene. Lieutenant Mooney put me in contact with Sergeant Gilbertson. I briefed Sergeant Gilbertson on what I knew and he told me that he would start to assemble his team. It's nice. I responded to the scene where I met with Sergeant Gunderson. Sergeant Gunderson informed me that officers were dispatched to the unconscious person at 1122 King Road and that it was when they found 4 deceased college-age people in the residence. I told Sergeant Gunderson I needed someone from his team to return to the police department to start writing an affidavit for a search warrant. Sergeant Gunderson asked Officer Nunes to handle that task. I then did a very brief walkthrough of the residence. I entered the residence from the entrance of the north side of the building. Officer Warner, who was securing the scene, logged my entrance into the residence. I then went up the stairs and located a deceased female on the floor and a male in the bed in the west bedroom and on the second floor. I climbed the stairs to the third floor and located 2 deceased females in the southeast bedroom. They were both in the bed. I spoke with Officer Smith, who was securing the residence at the south entrance for a moment. Then I exited the residence through the north entrance. Officer Warner noted my departure. I called Sergeant Gilbertson and informed him of the additional information provided to me and what I had seen. I told him MPD would be needing their assistance. I also told Sergeant Gilbertson, MPD had an officer writing an affidavit for a search warrant. I returned to the police department where I met with Sergeant Blaker and Corporal Payne, whom I had called earlier and requested they respond to the PD. At this time, Detective Mowry was at the police department. I requested they interview the other occupants of the residence where the deceased were located. There were also several friends of the deceased who had been with the deceased the night before and may have had information of their whereabouts and who they were with prior to the murders. Those interviews started at about 13:48 hours. Those to be interviewed arrived at the PD about 13:30 hours. I put them in the training room and provided them with drinks and snacks. Sure, they just love the drinks and snacks, but I'm just saying. Captain Lanier arrived and asked me how he could help. I love that. I requested he find officers that were not already tasked and complete a canvass of the neighborhood. Captain Lanier took care of the neighborhood canvassing. At about 14:23 hours, redacted, Xana. I don't know. Okay. Arrived at PD. He was informed of Xana's death by Captain Dallinger. Captain Barrett informed me Ethan Chapin's family had been notified of Ethan's death. Captain Barrett asked me to take care of the death notifications for Maddie Mogan and Kaylee Gonzalez. Captain Barrett provided me with the information the university had on file for Mogan and Gonzalez. There was no emergency contact information for either, so I called Kootenai County Dispatch due to Mogan and Gonzalez home addresses being in Kootenai County. I provided redacted the KCSO dispatcher of the addresses listed with the university for Madison Mogan and Kaylee Gonzalez. Redacted told me she had the names of, I'm assuming Steve and Christy Gonzalez, listed as residents of the address provided for Kayla Gonzalez. I requested a death notification for them. I was contacted by Deputy Mitch Jan from KCSO. He asked what he could tell the parents, and I informed him we knew very little at this time. A short time later, Deputy Jan called me and told me that when he arrived to give the notification, the parents were already aware. He's probably like, that guy was probably like, man, I don't even know what's going on. And I was just sitting here to tell you all. And I also provided Madison Mogan's address was provided. I also provided Madison Mogan's address, and Redacted was not able to locate anyone with the name Mogan at that residence. Redacted said she would send a Coeur d'Alene PD officer by the residence to make contact. A short time later, Officer Matt Saichis requested I call him. When I made contact with Officer Saichis, he told me Scott and Karen Laramie, that's what it looks like, Maddie Mogan were driving to Moscow. Yeah, that's what it is. About 20 minutes after my conversation with Officer Sheely's, the Laramies arrived at the PD. Captain Barrett gave the death notification. Captain Barrett requested I interviewed them. I spoke with Scott and Karen. I'm assuming this is Scott and Karen in the lobby interview room. They told me they had a great relationship with Madison. She got along with everyone. She had a strong relationship with her boyfriend, Jake, who lives in Boise, and that she had just gone to Boise to see him the weekend prior. Maddie and Jake had been dating for about a year and a half, and is from Redacted. I asked if there were any problems with past boyfriends, and there were none to their knowledge. I asked if Madison had mentioned any stalking behavior from anyone or anyone that made her uncomfortable, and they said she never spoke of anything. The rest of my shift was spent allocating resources where they were needed. Okay. Let's go on. This one's going to be John Rosinski. Okay. On 1/13/2022, I received a phone call advising me there was a quadruple homicide at 1122 King Road. I arrived to the Moscow Police Department, put on my police-issued uniform, and relieved Officer Warner at the above address, who was currently holding scene security and maintaining a log of who came in and out of the apartment at the front door, which is on the north side of the apartment. I was on scene for about 2 hours until I was relieved by Officer Morris, who took over my duties. The following day, on 11/14/2022, I learned that a sheath was found inside the apartment. The sheath was tan in color and had a Marine Corps Eagle globe and anchor symbol on the sheath. The words USMC were located under the EGA, and K-bar was above the EGA. I was tasked to follow up with businesses in town to see if that particular knife was sold there. I followed up with Tri-State Outfitters, Big Five Sporting Goods, Moscow Building Supply, Spence Hardware, and Walmart. Each of the above stores does not sell a K-bar brand knife. While at Walmart, I was speaking with a staff member, Redacted, name listed on name tag, who was showing me the knives on display. She told me about 2 to 3 weeks ago, a white college-age male asked for a black ski mask that would cover his face. Redacted was unable to provide much detail other than he was taller than she was and maybe a tan skin complexion. What the hell is that? Redacted said she advised the male they did not have any black ski mask and only camo. Redacted said the male walked away. Can't be camo. On 11/14, he already had the balaclava though, I think at that point, so I don't think that was him. On about 11/14/2022, at about 11:45 hours, I spoke with Redacted at the Memorial Gym substation. Redacted is currently the Redacted for the fraternity. Redacted. I asked Redacted if he could walk me through what he did on the night of 11/12/2022 and the early morning of 11/13/2022. Redacted said about 1830 on 11/20 or 11/12/22, he was at a party. Redacted said the party was at the Tree House, which is an off-site campus house for the sorority. Redacted. Redacted did not know the specific address, but said the house is near the Whites' apartments. Redacted said at the party he saw, and it looks like Emily, but we'll put Redacted, who was with Redacted boyfriend, unknown name, maybe. Redacted. Redacted said Redacted was the only member that recognized at the party. Redacted said he left around 2200 or 2300 hours. Redacted said he went back to his fraternity, I think, and watched a movie with Redacted. Okay, it's all Redacted. Like the people that they're talking about there. So then Redacted said he went to the Corner Club at around 1:49 hours on 11/13/2022 to pick up Redacted, 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 and Redacted. I don't know. There's one more Redacted after that. But they said that they were alone and not with anyone. He said he dropped the 3 above individuals off at their apartment off of King Road. Redacted said after he dropped them off, he went back home. Okay, then we have Aaron Morris. Okay, on 11/14 at approximately 1100 hours, I responded to the King Road residents, that's what we'll call it. In regards to follow-up, I took note of who came and went from the scene. ISP detectives, as well as Sergeant Blaker, Detective Vargas, and prosecuting attorneys entered the residence. Redacted arrived shortly after with her cadaver dogs to attempt and locate a blood trail from the residence. ISP entered the residence at 11:25 hours. Detective Vargas entered at 11:26 hours and left at 12:26 hours. Sergeant Blaker entered at 11:27 hours, exited at 11:49 hours. Prosecuting attorney Ashley Jennings and William Thompson entered at 11:30 hours and left at 11:53 hours. PA Jennings re-entered at 1200 hours. Sergeant Blaker re-entered at 1200 hours with Detective Vargas. Redacted arrived with her canine at 13:16 hours. They all remained in the area until 14:21 hours. Everyone cleared the scene and the residence was secured again at 14:21 hours. I stood by on scene for security until relieved. I cleared the residence at 1600 hours when Officer Rosinski relieved me. Well, okay. That was number 9. There's 10. I I downloaded these like by the 50, like per 50. So then we'll do 12. Usually I have these all pulled up by now too, but it's just easier to do it this way so I don't miss any. Because they be having a lot. Jacob Tesdahl. You know I'm not good with names. Plainclothes detailed victim sighting, it says. Okay, so let's see. On November 12th, 2022, actually, I'm going to make it quick text. Okay, so I kind of know where you're at. I'm just seeing when Vincent will be home. Okay. On November 12th, 2022, at around 1200 hours, I began an overtime shift for a plainclothes detail on the University of Idaho campus and related areas. This patrol was for minors and possession/consumption of alcohol, along with other alcohol drug offenses. During this patrol, I and the other officer with me, Officer Rosendahl, only had our body-worn cameras. We were operating out of the Moscow Police Department Ford Fusion, which I drove throughout the entire detail. This particular department vehicle did not have a dash camera or any other recording device. My street time conducting the plainclothes detail concluded at 03:52 hours on November 13th, 2022. During this detail, Officer Rosendahl and I made several patrols through the area of King Street and Queen Road. During each patrol of the area, we traveled on the north side of 500 Queen Road heading east. We wrapped around the building heading south on the east side, then west on the south side of the complex. We then traveled north on the west side, turned west onto Queen Road, and proceeded to King Street. During one of the patrols in this area while approaching the southwest corner of 500 Queen Road, I recall seeing a darker colored vehicle with taillights on. This vehicle was parked facing south on the south side of the parking lot towards the west end. There was a short section of the parking lot which extended to the west of 500 Queen Road, south of 1122 King Street, which was where the vehicle was. Each time we patrolled this area, I drove the same route. During the final patrol, which to the best of my recollection was between 200 and 300 hours, on November 13th, 2022, we traveled north on the west side of the apartment complex. I saw several individuals approaching the residence at 1122 King Street. During this detail, I was looking for alcohol beverages, open alcoholic containers, and individuals who appeared to be intoxicated. I observed the individuals as I drove past, but did not see any reason to contact them for our related patrol. I recall my view of the individuals being obstructed by vehicles and brush on the east side of the parking lot for 1122 King Street. The individuals were walking close to a vehicle which was parked in the northeast corner of the lot. As I turned onto Queen Road and traveled west, I continued to view the individuals. From my recollection, there were at least two individuals, possibly three. I recall one of the individuals having blonde hair. I do not recall exactly how many individuals there were, what they were wearing or any other details, as I quickly looked for beverages in their hands and whether they were staggering from intoxication. Since we made several patrols through the area, I cannot say with 100% confidence I saw the vehicle on the same path as I saw the individuals. Upon review of my radio history, I contacted three individuals at redacted Taylor Avenue at about 02:55 hours. To the best of my recollection, this was after exiting King Street after seeing the individuals at 1122 King Street. We cleared this contact at 03:32 hours. Okay, now we have David Hathaway. Got everybody. On 11/14 at about 22:42 hours, dispatch advised they were forwarding a call to my cell phone. My phone briefly started to ring, but then it suddenly stopped. For some reason, the call was forwarded to voicemail before I could answer. When the voicemail came through to my phone, I learned it was from Redacted. The voicemail said, "Hey, how's it going? My name is Redacted. My phone number is, I just wanted to make a statement to you guys because I was close friends with Maddie Mogan. I was with her at the corner club most of the night. And then after we left, we wanted to go to John's Alley and we went to stop at the grub truck. They got grub truck. Then a car picked them up and they left and went home. I just wanted to make a statement that unintelligible. I don't know if anything is helpful, but I was just with them like for a little bit. So if I can help, if I could be of any help, I would like to. Give me a call. Thank you." Wow, look at that. Hoodie guy. Look who decided to reach out. I mean, literally, he reached out the next day and was like, "If you guys need me, I was with them. Oh my goodness, if I can help. I would like to help. Please let me help." Like, that's not, that's not going to Africa. Who thought? I want to know who came up with half of these like rumors too. I want to know some rumors that now that we're all, hey, Brandywine, now that we're all like, kind of like seeing some things, we need to see some things. We need to hear some things. We need more. Thank you, Mary Beth, for gifting out 5 memberships. That's very nice of you. Welcome in, everyone. And thank you guys all for being here tonight. I appreciate it so much. I won't keep you too much later. Okay, where are we at? I don't think we read any of that. Okay, just down here. Yeah. So shortly after I got the voicemail, it looks like Showalter, but called dispatch again and was successfully transferred to my phone. At about 22:46 hours, I talked to Redacted on the phone. He essentially said the same thing he said in the voicemail he left. He said he was out with Maddie at the corner club until about 02:30 hours. Redacted said several times he did not know who the other girl was that was with them that night. Oh. Oh. Okay. Redacted described the girls getting into a silver sedan after they got food at the grub truck. I confirmed Redacted's name, date of birth, address, and phone number. I also confirmed with Redacted he drove to his parents' house at Redacted in Boise. I asked Redacted how long he planned to be at his parents' house, and he said he was skipping the next week of classes and would remain in Boise until after Thanksgiving break. Redacted said he was willing to talk to a detective about his involvement in this case. Redacted said he does not have a roommate at his Queen Road apartment and that he lives alone. I recorded our conversation with my dash camera and BWC. The videos were uploaded to the WatchGuard server. I attached the audio file of the voicemail Redacted left me to this case through Spillman. I don't know these apps because they're for officers, but wow. So he didn't even know Kaylee. Wow. Well, look at that. Didn't even know that. I didn't know that. Okay. Let's share this one. Let's see what Gunderson has to say. Okay. So, on 11/14/2022, I responded to the area of King Road and Queen Road. I photographed and looked in the 3 dumpsters in the area. Okay. Outside it just gives the addresses. All 3 dumpsters were located on the street. I saw nothing of evidentiary value in the dumpsters. I photographed them and cleared the area. ISP later pulled the trash pursuant to this investigation. Some blood was located on the 2nd floor at Redacted Taylor Avenue. What? Redacted Taylor Avenue is commonly referred to as the Whites and is known party location. The blood was isolated to one area and no trail to either area. I photographed the blood and notified on-scene investigators. I wonder. Okay, officer's house and I walked various areas around the crime scene looking for evidence. Officer House and I found nothing of evidentiary value. Photos were attached. We didn't get the photos. Maybe we'll get them soon. Okay, so that one was, I believe, 12. So there's 13, 14. Trying to open these. We're just going 3 at a time. Just easier that way. And this is going to be Roger Lanier. So, okay. On November 15th, 2022 at 9:30 hours, myself and Detective Mowry responded to the Corner Club at Redacted to contact the owner, Redacted. This was a prearranged meeting to view video from the evening of November 12th to the early morning hours of November 13th, 2022. The purpose was to confirm that Madison Mogan and Kaylee Gonzalez were at the Corner Club as had been reported and to try and identify individuals seen on the grub truck video later in the morning, specifically a male who appeared to be accompanying them. Upon arrival, Redacted already had the video up on the screen and queued to the proper time frame. Detective Mowry began scrolling through the video, which consisted of multiple views and multiple screens that were all in time sync. We determined that Gonzalez and Mogan arrived at the Corner Club at 22:20 hours in a Prius-type vehicle with one other unidentified female. The vehicle was determined to be an Uber vehicle, and the driver identified. Gonzalez and Mogan mingle around the bar, but spend most of their time in the front along the bar, next to the left end as you face the bar. They make occasional trips to the restroom and speak to several people as they mingle. At 00:22 hours, Kaylee paid her bar tab using her credit card, which consisted of 9 well vodkas, and 2 add juice. Redacted provided a copy of the receipt. At approximately 100 hours, Kaylee engages in a conversation with a subject identified by bar staff as, we know it's Jack, but Jack, redacted. Redacted was seen with Gonzalez and Mogan in the grub truck video. No, this is wrong. This Showalter, sorry. And the grub truck video later that evening. This appeared to be consensual conversation, and it appeared they knew each other. At approximately 0114 hours, Mogan joins in the conversation, and all three remain generally in the area of the bar near the wall. Nothing stood out during that time, and both appeared to know Redacted. At 0131 hours, Redacted paid his bar tab with his credit card consisting of 5, I don't know what cans of BTL. What's BTL? And 2 kamikaze. After paying, he walked to the back of the bar, went into the restroom, came back out, retrieved his coat, and came back to the area near the exit where Gonzalez and Mogan were waiting. Redacted waited in the background while the girls finished conversing with the others. Then they all exited the building at 0137 hours. The parking lot camera shows them walking away together across then out of the parking lot in the westerly direction. They were all dressed in the same in the grub truck video, with Redacted wearing a white or very light colored hoodie with a brown coat over it. While reviewing the video, we also recognized Redacted, who was reported to be Gonzalez's ex-boyfriend. We did not track his movements in the video, but he appeared to have spent most of his time in the opposite end of the business, seated with several other males. At one point, there appeared to be a brief interaction with Gonzalez that looked cordial in passing. Redacted left at 0151 hours with 2 other males. Also noticed in the video was a subject seen in the grub truck video. I recognized him because of his unique sweater and long hair and beard. He was identified as Redacted by bar staff. He checked out at 000 hours, using a credit card in the same name, showing 2 micro tub. I didn't notice any interaction between Redacted and Gonzalez or Mogan. A third subject who was seen in the grub truck video was also observed in the corner club, but we are not able to identify him. Oh, that's Joe Vidit. He is stocky build, white male with brown hair and facial hair, wearing a brownish sweater. That's Joe Vidit. I did not observe any interaction between him and Gonzalez or Mogan. Yeah. Because the video file was extremely large, Detective Mowry was unable to copy it to an external storage device. We left the business, and Detective Mowry is working on obtaining a usable copy of the video for a closer review. Okay, hold on one second. I just have to blow my nose really quick. Just give me 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. Thanks, guys. Let's see, how far are we in? Okay. We'll read for 15 more minutes. Just looking at my dog. She's back there living the best life. Okay. Let me put it on the next page. This is going to be for Danny Vargas. So this one says, on November 14th, 2022, I went to, they don't have to spell right. I guess that's not what they're meant to do, but good thing I know what they mean to be spelling. So this is Kind Road. I went to 1122 King Road with Sergeant Blaker to observe the scene. I walked through the house and around the outside of the residence, along with other investigators looking for possible evidence. ISP investigators were on scene, walking through for a second time, looking for additional evidence. I walked around the south side of 1122 King Road, up the hill and along the fence line for redacted Wallensa. The backyard for Wallensa backs up to the backyard area of 1122 King Road. I spoke with Redacted at Redacted Wallensa and asked for his permission to look through his backyard area, which he said I could. Redacted told me he was a person who previously called dispatch to provide information about what he observed. I told Redacted after looking over the area and through the residence on King Road, I would come back and get a statement from him. I did not locate anything of interest in the backyard of his Wallensa house or on the hillside behind 1122 King Road. I walked onto 1122 King Road and I looked through the house with other investigators. The following 4 evidence items were collected by ISP. 3431 J. Talbot inside 1122 King Road on November 14th, 2022 and turned over to me on scene. ISP took photos of the items in the places they were collected from. I booked the following items into MPD evidence. A copy of the evidence property receipt relating to these items is attached electronically to the case file. No way. That's weird. Okay. I don't know whose bedroom that would be. Exhibit 58, rolled up $2 bill located on the desk in F2 bedroom 1 northwest. Exhibit 58, blue powder, a suspected drugs located on the desk in F2 bedroom 1 northwest. Exhibit 59, blood sample west wall F2 living room. Exhibit 60, blood sample F3 bedroom 2 northwest wall. I spoke with the following people who live at Redacted Wallensa. My conversations with redacted, and redacted were recorded and are attached electronically to the case file. So I've been saying there's like this guy that's a creator on the platform and he knows Brian Koberger from like high school or something. And I told him we had this bet, $20,000. I said, I'll take you down that bet that he's guilty. I want my money. And I said I wanted it in $2 bills. So when I saw that said $2 bill, I was like, because when was the last time you saw a $2 bill? Not since my mama brought me one home from Pizza Hut when she was a server and a strip club and the strip club. They do have $2 bills there. That's where they got that $2 bill. I mean, if I was a betting person, but that's from the house on Wallensa. That's not from the King Road house. So yeah, guess they just let them in and they were like, come on in and talk. I don't know. Let's see what the next one says. Maybe it'll give us more clarity. So Aaron Morris, this one is for, it's on 11/15. Okay, let's see what this says. And let me put that current comment down so you guys can see it's a little bit better. Oh, let me go back. Oh, no, you're right. But let me see. I'm just seeing if there's property receipt relating to these items is attached electronically. Okay. I just wonder where F2. Let me see. That would be them. I don't know what I'm just wondering which bedrooms, like, you know what I mean, like F2, where is that? So floor 2, bedroom 1. Would that be the F2? I don't know. Because it says here, blood sample west wall F2 living room. I'm thinking it's floor 2. Because then it says blood sample F3 bedroom 2. So must be bedroom 1, Kaylee, bedroom 2, Maddie's. but the floor 2, bedroom 1, I'm not sure. Northwest. I don't know if that's Santa's or if that's Dylan's. If it would be floor 2. If that's how it's, if that's how it's like, is that how it is? Like that is that how you're taking it too? Like F2 is floor 2? Yeah, they will. Um, so let's see. This is the next document. On 11/15, redacted, and redacted, came to the Moscow PD substation to speak with Officer Rosinski and I regarding an incident possibly related to the homicide that occurred on 11/13/2022. They stated on 10/21/2022, an unidentified white male came into the women's center and asked to speak to someone. Redacted spoke to the male. She stated he asked for snacks and appeared to be under the influence. She stated the interaction only lasted about 5 minutes. Redacted stated the male said he had a female friend who was in an abusive relationship. The male stated he was afraid the female would be hurt by her boyfriend and was also afraid he would hurt the boyfriend due to the abusive behavior. Redacted did not gather any names and had never seen the male before. I asked Redacted and Redacted if they had any contacts with any of the victims. They said they did not, and they did not have any of their contacts documented. On 11/15/2022, at approximately 11:50 hours, Redacted came into the substation to speak to me. I was told by Corporal Payne. Redacted went to Gritman on 11/13/2022 to seek medical care for cuts on his hand. I asked Redacted what happened to his hand. He stated on 11/12/2022 at around 200 hours, he cut his hand attempting to cut chicken for a sandwich. Redacted stated he was intoxicated, and when he was trying to cut the meat, his pocket knife slipped and cut his hand. I asked when he went to the hospital. He read his wristband from the hospital, and he said he went on 11/13/22 at 1400 hours. Redacted told me he lived at the Redacted house. The laceration was on his right hand. He sent me a photograph of the injury, and I attached it to the case. I asked Redacted if he knew any of the victims. He stated he had seen Ethan 2 times at parties, but did not know any of the females. He said the Redacted sister house was Redacted. He said it was national standard, but he had friends from multiple sororities. Redacted ran me through his weekend from Saturday morning. He stated that he slept in Saturday morning, 11/12/2022, and woke up around 9:30 hours. He said he went to the treehouse, which was a Redacted outhouse located at Redacted Taylor Avenue. He said he spent the whole day there watching the game. He said he left the treehouse at around 19:30 hours and went back to the Redacted Elm Street. He said he was drinking all night and finally went to bed on 11/13/2022 at around 400 hours. Redacted said he was with his friends. Redacted, they're all redacted all night. He provided him a phone number. Officer Rosinski talked to Redacted later at the Redacted house. He said that he and Redacted were walking down the stairs at the Redacted house when Redacted missed a step and fell into the window. Redacted said at the time, neither he or Redacted saw any blood. Redacted said Redacted was cutting chicken and he saw the injury. According to Redacted, was extremely intoxicated, thought he cut his hand while cutting the chicken, but Redacted believed he cut it on the glass. Okay, so there's a lot of redactions here. He said he was willing to sign a consent form for medical records if we needed them. He said he could not remember if he cut his hand on the window or the knife. He said his friends told him to go to the hospital to make sure there was not glass in his hand. Someone says, I went with Redacted to the Redacted house. He showed me the window they found broken. I photographed the window and attached it to the case. On 11/16/22, I responded to Redacted at Redacted Main Street. I have person of interest. I think that's Shakespeare Walter, maybe. But it says, Redacted confirmed service to tenants through Redacted. Redacted said they could not see who used the service. I asked Redacted if any of their tenants tried to get out of their leases recently. They said no. They said Redacted started his lease on 7/18/2022. The employee remembered Redacted because his father was adamant on getting him the apartment. I responded to Redacted to see if Redacted utilized the internet service they provided. The employee gave me a paper with all tenants from Redacted Queen Road that used it. Redacted did not use the service. On 11/16/22, I was asked to follow up on individuals connected to victims or people of interest. The names provided were gives a bunch of redacted names. I called the Dean of Students office for phone numbers for the redacted people. I called Redacted first, who stated he was at his home in Boise. Two of the people stated that they lived together in Mandarin. I passed the information to corporate Barrett, or Captain Barrett, sorry. I also TLO'd, I don't know what that means. Redacted. I got a phone number for Redacted and called them. He provided his home address in Boise and said he was willing to speak with detectives. I forwarded that information as well as the TLO of Redacted to Corporal Payne and Corporal Barrett. On 11/16, all the redacted names from the DOS office came to the ISUB. Redacted stated he had information regarding the homicide. First stated the DOS office had a debrief to check in on everyone. Redacted said that Redacted name was brought up. He said he got him thinking because Redacted had a recent care report about in on him. It says that he had a few different circumstances in my life that had substantially decreased my mental health. On 11/4/22, Redacted called Redacted, said he seemed distant, distracted, and sad. Redacted also brought up the grub truck video. He said he was guessing, but he believed it was Redacted following the victims and hovering around them. Redacted also said after finding out what had happened, Redacted was more concerned about his dog. I think talking about decor. Okay. I thanked Redacted for the information, asked Redacted if he was able to provide the care reports for Redacted. They referenced. Redacted said he did not seem hugely concerned, but would attempt to gather them. Well, just because you're not concerned don't mean the police aren't concerned. What the heavens? Okay. Which one did we just read? Was this number 13? This is 15. Okay, so we'll go 16, 17. We'll go through 20. And then whatever we don't go through tonight, we'll go through tomorrow on our live. And I'll make sure that I have it all color coordinated for you guys a little better too. But if you guys don't mind, before I forget to ask you guys, hit the like button for me if you guys don't mind, if you appreciate the content. If you do appreciate the content, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We do lives every evening at 9:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Sometimes I even do lives during the day. So as of right now, we'll be talking about Idaho for a while because there's going to be a lot of documents coming out of Idaho and the surrounding areas. So buckle up, get ready, all the good stuff. So this is on 11/15/2022 when I arrived at work. This is from John Lawrence. I had several voicemails on my desk phone. I began reviewing the voicemails. Most of the voicemails were tips on the current homicide investigation. Many of the tips were about the live feed from the grub truck. Throughout the day, I fielded several calls from people with possible information they believed may be of importance to the investigation. I received a call from Redacted. Redacted told me she was at the corner club with two of the victims, Madison and Kaylee, the night prior to the murder. She told me there was a college-age male known by Madison. Redacted told me the male was wearing a black and white flannel shirt with black shirt underneath, and that had writing in white letters that said antisocial. Redacted told me the college-age male, who has been identified as Redacted, was acting creepy. She said he was not engaging people in conversation and he was just staring at the girls in the group she was with. Redacted told me Redacted had been grabbing girls by the butt and being handsy. Redacted said she confronted Redacted and told him to stop touching girls inappropriately or she would have him kicked out of the bar. At one point, Madison introduced her. Redacted to Redacted and told her she knew him. Redacted said she let her guard down a little when it came to Redacted and was later told by Madison that she only knew Redacted through class and a group project in which they had worked on together. Redacted said a short time later, Redacted was kicked out of the bar. I don't like these redactions. Sorry, I'm like... Thank you guys all for being here. You're tired and sore. I hear you there. I hear you there, Crime Kitty. I'm not far behind you. We had a long live today, didn't we? 4.5 hours, and it was taxing on us. I know it was. I know it was on you guys as much as it was on me. On November 15th, this is from Officer Justin Dean is what we're going to call him. On November 15th, 2022, at approximately 12:48 hours, I spoke with Redacted President Redacted about the 1122 King Road residence. I asked Redacted if she knew the people who lived at the house. Redacted said yes. She said they were a close group of friends who primarily hung out with themselves. I asked Redacted if she ever went to their parties at the house. Redacted said she did a couple of times, but the parties were small. She said the roommates were a pretty tight group who didn't throw big parties. I asked if she knew about any drug use or sales from the house. Redacted said she thought Xana Kernodle and Ethan Chapin may have used cocaine, but nothing big, and no one sold drugs. I asked her if she knew whether there were larger quantities of drugs kept at the residence. Redacted said no. Redacted then told me she was at the Corner Club on November 13th, 2022, between the midnight and 2 a.m. hours. She said Madison Mogan and Kayla Gonzalez were also at the Corner Club during that time. Redacted said she heard a male was kicked out of the bar because he was acting creepy towards Mogan. I asked Redacted if she had any other details about the male or incident. Redacted said no. I told Redacted to get a hold of me if she had any more information. Okay. So this is the next one. This is Neighborhood Canvas, Roger Lanier. On November 14th, 2022, at approximately 100 or 1,000 hours, I don't know how to say 100 hours, I don't know how to say that. I responded back to 1122 King Road to conduct a neighborhood canvas in the daylight. Chief Fry was with me. We started from the rear of the residence and covered the small hill area behind the 1122 King Road. Right behind the residence, there was a small black bag that had obviously been out in the weather for some time. There was nothing in it. We searched up to the parking lot of Redacted Queen Road, then worked southwest along the hillside below the parking lot. We searched the fenced backyard of Redacted Walenta Drive and continued west above Redacted King Road. From there, I was joined by Sergeant Gunderson, and we went through the south side of Redacted King Road, where the back, then around the back, then back west between Redacted King Road and Redacted King Road. Out to Taylor Avenue, we crossed open play field from Taylor Avenue north to Nez Perez Drive. At the crosswalk near Redacted, we walked the pathway north to the WW1 Memorial Grove and stopped at that point. I returned to the intersection of Taylor Avenue and King Road, where I met up with Chief Fry again. From that point, we proceeded east along the south side of Taylor Avenue, looking at the shrubbery and around the cars along the curb. At the entrance to the parking lot of Redacted Taylor Avenue, I noticed a black vest laying in the grass next to the fire hydrant. The vest appeared to be weathered with leaves and debris on it. It appeared to have been there for several days. I checked the pockets and examined the vest, but did not find anything of note. As we continued to walk east along the south side of Taylor Avenue, I noticed a large amount of trash and various items on the grass and in the bushes, including various glass and plastic bottles, pipes, and various types. Some articles of clothing, such as t-shirts and underwear, men's and women's, and various papers and litter. All appeared to have been in the area for several days or weeks, and I did not determine any evidentiary value for any of the items I saw. From there, I went south down Linden Lane and walked west between Redacted Taylor Avenue and Redacted Linden Lane. Then north to the easternmost building of Redacted Queen Road. That's the apartment I'm thinking of. And then up to the parking lot on the north side of Queen Road, back to Redacted Queen Road, where I stopped. So this is John Roseniski. I can't say his name. Poor guys. I'm just butchering their names. So then this one is on 11/16/2022. I spoke with Redacted at the substation on the University of Idaho campus. I asked Redacted if she had any special relationships with any of the victims, and Redacted aide said she was really good friends with Xana Kernodle and met Xana freshman year. Redacted said she was also close friends with Kaylee Gonzalez and met her freshman year during recruitment. Redacted said she knew Kaylee the best. I asked Redacted if Kaylee hung out or associated with anyone with violent tendencies. Redacted said no and expressed she was confused about the incident because she saw on the news Redacted said Kaylee mainly stuck together with her roommates, Xana, Bethany, Ethan, Maddie, Dylan, all of them. This is Redacted said that Kaylee also hung out with the King girls, which were Redacted, 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 and Redacted. I asked Redacted if Kaylee was involved in using illegal substances, and Redacted said just coke, probably. I asked Redacted if she saw Kaylee doing cocaine, and Redacted said no, but she knew Xana was pretty into it. Detective Deanne asked if Ethan Chapin, Xana's boyfriend, was into cocaine, and Redacted said she did not know. Redacted said she didn't know Ethan that well. Detective Deanne asked if drugs were being sold from that house or if the drugs were more used for parties. Redacted said they were used but not sold. Detective Deanne asked if there were large quantities of drugs at the house or if the house was known as a drug house, and Redacted said no. I asked Redacted if Kaylee ever mentioned about having a stalker or having concerns about anyone, and Redacted said no. Redacted also said Kaylee never mentioned anything to the girls. Redacted asked if she saw the Twitch stream. I asked Redacted what she saw in the stream, and she mentioned there were two guys. I asked Redacted if she recognized the two guys, and Redacted said she did not. Redacted said she said her friend Redacted and Redacted were at the grub truck and saw Kaylee and Maddie. Redacted mentioned the two males were being weird. I asked Redacted if she or anyone recognized anyone from the grub truck stream, and Redacted said no. I asked Redacted if she was familiar with the fraternity members of blank Redacted, and she said yes. I asked Redacted if there was anything mentioned why the males were labeled as weird. Redacted said she thought one of the males nudged the other male like, oh, those are your girls, go and get them. Redacted said that Redacted would be worth talking to because she was there during that time. I asked Redacted if Redacted spoke with Kaylee, and Redacted said she might have said hi, but wasn't sure. Redacted also mentioned that Redacted hung out with Kaylee and Madison all night at the Corner Club. I asked Redacted if any of the victims had any issues with anyone, and Redacted said that Kaylee was unproblematic and peaceful. Redacted said she can't imagine somebody with violent tendencies around her. Redacted says she felt the same way about Madison. Redacted said, if anything, maybe Ethan and Xana. I asked if Ethan and Xana associated with violent people. Redacted said this because Redacted said that Xana and Ethan were more outgoing and hung out with different friend groups. Detective Deanne asked if Kaylee or Madison recently had a boyfriend or ex-boyfriend. Redacted said Kaylee dated a guy named Jack DeCore for a couple of years, and Kaylee and Jack were high school sweethearts. Redacted said Redacted was a really nice person. Redacted said she spoke to Kaylee a couple times before the incident, and Kaylee said once she graduated, she was looking for an apartment in Texas. Redacted said Kaylee met a guy from Texas that is already living in Texas, and they were going to be roommates. I asked Redacted if Kaylee and Jack were still together when Kaylee mentioned that to her, and Redacted said no, that they were already broken up. Redacted said that Jack mentioned that Kaylee attempted to call Jack around 300 hours, asking if he was still up. Redacted said she didn't think that Jack replied to Kaylee because he thought it was some type of booty call. I said that too. Detective Deanne asked how... Hey, Mia. You okay? You cool? You cool? She's having a really bad dream. Man, she was having a really bad dream. I feel so bad for her. I probably, after hearing me all day talking, she's probably, I imagine if she was a human. She's back there like having a nightmare. No wonders, I'm like over here, like talking all this like stuff, giving the dog nightmares. Okay, where are we at? Okay. Detective Deanne asked if Madison had a boyfriend, and Redacted said yes, and that they call him Redacted, and said she thought his first name was Redacted. Redacted said that he was a really good guy. Detective Deanne asked what he looked like, and Redacted said Redacted was short, maybe 5'7", and balding. Redacted said he had brown hair and was skinny. Redacted thought he lived in Coeur d'Alene. Redacted said Redacted was Madison's little. Redacted said Kaylee and Madison were the closest out of all the roommates. Detective Dan asked if Redacted had a boyfriend. Redacted said yes. Redacted said his name is Redacted. Starts with a Q or something. Redacted and lived in Boise. Redacted said that Redacted was nice and hardworking. Redacted said Redacted had epilepsy and was not a violent person. She wasn't aware of any issues between the roommates. I asked if Kaylee hung out with any other males. Redacted said Kaylee was talking to a guy named Redacted, who was a member of Redacted, said they had a sexual relationships and would hook up here and there. Redacted described Redacted to be over 6 feet, brunette, and medium build. Redacted said he was serving as vice president to Redacted. I asked Redacted if there was anyone else Kaylee spent time with, and Redacted said no, unless Kaylee met someone at the bar that night. Redacted did not know if Kaylee met anyone in particular, but heard a male got kicked out of for being creepy towards Madison. Redacted said Redacted could probably have more info because they were also at the bar. Redacted said the last time she spoke to Kaylee was about 1,700 hours on 11/13/2022. Redacted said Kaylee showed up with all of Kaylee's roommates at her apartment, the Whites, sometime between 1430 and 1500 hours. Redacted said they left sometime between 1,700 and 1,800 hours. I told Redacted I was aware of a social media post of all the roommates pictured together, and Redacted said that was at her apartment. I asked Redacted if she has been over to Kaylee's house before. I asked if people usually the Wi-Fi. I think that's use the Wi-Fi. And Redacted was unsure. Redacted said they usually leave their doors unlocked and everyone knows it's a Redacted out of house. I asked why Kaylee lived in a house with a different sorority, and Redacted said that Kaylee and Madison have been best friends for several years and spoke about living with each other. Redacted said Kaylee was still close with her freshman and sophomore friend group. Sorry. I asked Redacted if she was aware of any cameras in the area, and Redacted said no. Detective Diane asked Redacted if she saw anyone in the area and that seemed out of place. And Redacted said that she thought while she was at her apartment and does not remember who, but said somebody mentioned about a random kid carrying a BB gun, but no one thought anything of it. Redacted said she reached out to Redacted on 11/13/2022 after the incident, but she did not reply. Redacted said Redacted has reached out, but was unsure. I asked if anyone has reached out to Redacted or Redacted or Redacted. Okay, that's just a lot of redactions. So then we'll read this one. This one's the short one before we jump off here. So on 11/17 at 14:30 hours, I responded to the University of Idaho Kibbe Dome to interview Redacted. Corporal Barrett stated Redacted possibly had information regarding the homicide. Redacted took Detective Dan and myself to the conference room to speak. Okay. Redacted stated on Sunday, 11/13/22, between 900 hours and 1000 hours, he was walking his dog. He stated when he walked by the first time, he noticed the front door to 1122 King Road on the north side of the building facing campus was wide open. Oh, I don't know why that damn door was wide open. He stated he knew it was a party house, so assumed someone was too intoxicated and forgot to close the door the night prior. Redacted stated he walked his dog up Taylor Avenue to Blake Avenue and then down Sweet Avenue. He said the walk took him approximately 1 hour. Stated when he walked back to his apartment around 1100 hours, the front door was still wide open. Redacted said he wasn't sure if the information was known or not, but thought he should report it. I asked Redacted if he knew anyone who lived in the house. He said not personally, but in passing. I thanked Redacted and cleared. Wow. So the back door and the front door were both open. That's crazy. Okay, what one was that one that we just went over? So I don't. Okay, number 20. Because I'll forget for tomorrow. Oh, my pens are over here. I can't think straight by the end of the night. Like after today, I think it's safe to say that I probably need to go to bed. I think our live earlier today was 4.5 hours, and I cried 4 hours and 20 minutes of it. I'm just kidding. It really wasn't that much. They actually just said that it wasn't a party house. They just stated that. They said that they would have small parties. Like, so more of like your friend group. Like okay, so when I was their age, we had friend group, but our friend group was it was a little different because my friend group had kids younger, like in their early 20s. So like between 2022, they started having babies. So when we would go out together, like let's say we were at a bar together, we would all just hang around each other. We weren't out looking for like dudes or like any of that like kind of stuff. We weren't. We just wanted to hang out with each other because we didn't get to see each other anymore because there was 10 of us and 9 of us had kids. Guess who didn't? That'd be me. But I mean, I think that I don't know. I think that it wasn't any more of a party house than like a regular college house. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, it should be 11 a.m. You're confusing two different calls, Douglas. So one call there is kids on the building. That's up the road or down the road, I guess you could call it, from this house. This house, they had people in this house, but I think that we could count 5 or 6 people in that house. But they did definitely have people on the roof at that one house. I forget what I don't know the address, but I could find you a picture probably. I'll look for one. I'm thinking I know I kept one. Oh, Dylan definitely is PTSD call for sure. When she spoke today, I mean, it hit me in my gut. The hypervigilance, I feel you, girl, and I'm so sorry that you have to go through those things. And like, man, I was so surprised as she spoke. I really was so surprised. Yeah. I could never. I was so proud of the victims or survivors. I'm gonna say survivors. For Dylan to go up there and like say something after the internet has crushed her. I mean, like literally crushed her whole soul. Like, I mean, just people have done like just said the rudest things about her, have done them, she couldn't even leave her house. She was had to sleep with her parents for the last 2 years. What 21-year-old girl wants to be sleeping with their parents? I could tell you, ain't Dylan Mortensen. She don't want to be doing that. She don't want to be doing that. Neither does Bethany. Bethany said in her letter the same thing. They sleep with their parents. Like, that's so sad. You know what I mean? Like, that's sad. Yeah, Dylan tore me up too. Yeah. The judge started crying when they were reading Bethany's. She was bawling, and it was the pictures of her are so sad, yet beautiful at the same time. Because she was being open. She was being honest, right? And that's what we've all been wanting to hear from. We've been wanting to hear from Dylan for over 2 years. She didn't disappoint me. Not at all, you know? I wish that he would have said something at the end of today's hearing, but I knew he wouldn't have. But when he said respectfully, no, I'm like, oh, now we're respecting. Now we're using respectfully. Okay. I was like, we're using because he hasn't said your honor this whole time. I think that it took a lot of courage for Steve to walk in that courtroom today too, and hold his and Ben and Jeff, and to hold their emotions, like that part of their emotions, like the I'm gonna go across the courtroom at you. They had to keep that under wraps today. They had to just say what they wanted to say. I think Ben did a wonderful job. He did a Ben speech. You know what I mean? Like that was him. It was raw. Steve straight moved that damn podium. You're going to look at me. Olivia, stand up when I'm talking to you. I loved her. Aubrey, you stole the show today. I think you might have scared Koberger the worst out of anybody. And then for Christy to be so strong, Christy was really strong today. She didn't make me cry for once. I don't think I cried during hers. I think she made me feel like and she can usually like, she speaks and I cry. Like even just like, hello. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like she just has like one of those voices, a very caring voice. Now I wonder what other people think on the other side, if they still think, Brian's innocent. I mean, after today, if y'all, the dude today, he was not looking very innocent over there. Let me see if I can, what's that? Oh, I thought that was something else. Let me go up to the top, see if there's anything. Oh, I was going to show you, oh, wow. Okay. So I'm going to assume, I don't know how like, true this is, but we're going to go with it. Brian Koberger is currently maybe in solitary confinement at the RDU unit, Idaho State Correctional Institution in Kuna. So where we said he was going to go. So we'll see. That's what JLR is saying. So we'll see. Let's go over here to trending. Brian Koberger trending. I don't see anything. Oh, wait, here we go. This is what I was going to show you. Tell me if this doesn't look like a freaking Brian Koberger and it's a female. That's his mom behind with the 80s hairstyle. I'm not making fun. I'm just saying it's a mom style. That's a Pennsylvania mom style haircut right there. Oh, I'm not showing you. I thought I was showing you. Oh, I thought I had it pulled up. There we go. Sorry about that, friends. Sorry about that. This is Brian's sister, Brian's mama, Mary Ann. I don't respect a woman with the name Marion. I'm sorry. That's just a me problem. That's just a me problem. That is a me problem. Marianne, I hope you're okay tonight. I really do. I have prayers for you. But she don't look like she's that sad. Like, I mean, like Brian's sister looks like, oh shit, that's JLR. Like, you know what I mean? Like she's like, deer in the headlights. But we know that look, right? That's a look we're familiar with. Brian's mom, I just can't get a feel. I can't get a reading. Where's his dad? Michael, where are you at? Where are you at, Michael? Maybe his dad couldn't even go out because his dad literally right before he did all this was going around telling people, my son's a doctor. My son's going to be a doctor. Like Brian and drag, right? It is. We might have to watch her movie. That would be something. Okay. Well, I'm going to jump off here. I said I was going to be on here for an hour and a half tonight. And it's 2.5 hours in. Look at me. Oh, she's going to have them sunglasses on all the time. I put my sunglasses on here one night. I couldn't even see the damn writing. I was like, how do people stream and wear sunglasses? But mine are just super dark. That's what I think, Plastic One. I think he might tell Kathleen Ramslin. He might. The dad didn't go? Damn. But the mom did? She's been in the house. She's been like locked in the house for like the last 2.5 years. Daily Mail can't even get a picture of her. But his dad, you know why? Maybe his dad was scared. Maybe his dad was scared of Steve, Ben, Jeff. I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying, like, but Anne was taking good care of them. I'm glad they had Anne. I'm sure Anne and Mary Ann had a lot to talk about. They're both playing their mother figures for Brian Koberger. But look, JLR was waiting for that back door to open. He was waiting. Yeah, so send your wife. Yeah. Personal block button is the best thing ever. Okay, well, I'm going to jump off of here. Thank you guys so much for coming in tonight. And I really do appreciate you guys coming in, listening to me read. I will make sure tomorrow night on the live that I know that we have like, I want to pull up the autopsy reports. There's no pictures. I'm not doing it. I would never do that to you guys. But I do want to read what the details are. And then there are some more. So each file that we get is like 1 through 50 and then 50 through 100. They're in 50s. So we'll just go through the rest of this one tomorrow. We'll get rested. We'll get our bearings back to me. I need some sleep. I feel like I've like like when you get sad, like when you are sad, you like get tired. Is that how you guys are? I'm exhausted. Thank you. I'm gonna put that down. I'm gonna write that down. Emails. Okay, I'm gonna check my email because I forgot to do that earlier. It's so hard whenever I don't have my emails on my computer. I need to fix that problem. But if you guys haven't, thank you for being here. If you guys don't mind, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, share the video out. Any other things does help the channel. 4 more to 300 likes. Look at that. I cannot say thank you guys enough. That was a very nice live. I will be back on tomorrow. If you guys came in later and you guys were here last night and you saw our live about Elliot Hines, unfortunately, today they found her body in the Mississippi River. So I was really hoping she would be found and be okay. But I appreciate you. I'll be back on tomorrow. I may even do a day live. So if you guys do subscribe, make sure you hit the bell icon. That way you'll get notified. But I will definitely be back on either tomorrow during the afternoon or evening or both. So you'll see me. But thank you guys so much. And before I get off here, we have a ton more of documents to go through and a ton more of stuff to do with this case. But as of today, Brian Koberger is a property of Idaho. He will never, ever, to the Kobergers and the Pro Burgers in the back, ever get out of jail. The only time he's going to get out of prison is if they're transporting him to another prison or to the hospital. And he's just he's just a number now, right? He's just a number. Inmate number 5834767. No, that's not it. But I wish I knew his inmate number. Leave the perverts alone. They might. Now I want to see what these channels do. Are they going to keep going? Or are they going to, I don't know. But thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. And I will say, you guys, as a chat, you guys have been a very nice chat, a very awesome chat to go through this whole experience with. I mean, the last 2.5 years it's a lot. It's a lot on anyone, you know? And I'm glad you guys were here with me. But thank you guys again for being here. I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Have a wonderful evening. Bye, guys.
Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down.